In the last 24 hours, there has been so much fear and panic in the northern part of Nigeria ever since Iran indicted them. Now imagine, as a Nigerian that you are in the middle belt and in the south. We know that we've always had an eternal war whereby the Fulani herders have always wanted to have this shared dominance over everybody. And the only reason why they have not been able to achieve that is because they've not had a level of superiority in advanced weaponries. Right now, what they have access to is AK-47, AK-49, and we've known how many villages, communities right there in the Middle Belt that has been converted to full Islam. We've had areas in Benue State, in Plateau State, that have been converted from Christopher, from Alexander. Now they bear Islamic names like Muhammad, like Abdullah. I mean, you go on Google Map, you'll find what I'm telling you. Now, yesterday, Iran said, we need all the sympathizers, all our supporters, every one of you that believe that Islam is the best form of living. And of course, everyone who has the agenda to extend the Islamization, that we want your support. In a massive turnaround, there's that division that we are now seeing right now that is being exposed in Nigeria, that the country never should have been. The country is a country that never should have existed. That is why I would want you to join me in this little prayer. Lord, regard wherever you are. You no go die well, you no go rest in peace. And I want you to hold your head too, because you must understand that what is the gravity if Iran has access to nuclear war? Hold your head. Say that, Trump, you go die well. Trump, you go live long. I understand the rhetorics. I understand the nuances about capitalism. I understand the nuances that it is still America that is holding Africa. I understand all those things. But what you must understand is, right? If I can go to America, I can prosper. If I can go to United Kingdom, I can prosper as a person without my belief and personal, culture not being forcefully taken away. Then why should I keep quiet in the face of what we call imminent Islamic terrorism? Because if an Iran has that nuclear weapon, they will start, and they are going to start from Africa. They will start asking their allies. We know that the biggest allies of Iran in Africa, one of them have their deep neck they have their hands in the Nigerian ecosystem. We know that the northern part of Nigeria is where we have the base. When you talk about the Jenim, when you talk about the Boko Harams, when you talk about the IS states, ISWAPs, Lakaruas, where do you think they get their intelligence from? Across that Sahel line. You have it on my screen. Across the Sahel line, you move into West Sudan. To Sudan, you cross what? The Mediterranean Sea. Then you have the Iran state. You see, as Africans, we must understand that we need to pay attention to global politics. Yes, we might think this does not concern us, but the win of yesterday, where Trump bombed those sites, about 3 of those nuclear sites where nuclear weapons are being manufactured, has once again restored peace, not just to the world, but in this particular context, to the Nigerian people, to the southern Nigerian people, to the middle belt people, because these are people who are largely Christians. These are people who do not believe in the ideology of the Islamization. The reason why the West, the reason why US, the United Kingdom, so many people are praising the United States of America is because if the United States of America falls, Christendom falls. If United States of America falls, I tell you by extension, the southern Nigeria will fall. The middle belt will fall extensively. If you recall, that very young priest who went to United States Congress to say that we are being incessantly attacked by the Fulani herders in the middle belt, that reverend who can no longer come home, who went to report the Nigerian state, that the Nigerian state is being commanded and controlled by Islamic jihadists. Has it not been vindicated? As we speak, has it not been vindicated? Iran literally indict Nigeria as an Islamic state. You know, sometimes we come here to analyze issues, and in our comment section, we see people that tell us that we are sentimental, that we are profiling the Nigerian Muslims, that we are profiling the Nigerian Fulani headers, that we are pushing narratives that we want to divide the country. Listen, where there is no truth, where there is no equity, where there is no fairness, and where there is no sincerity, there can never be unity. It's as simple as that. In Nigeria today, we are pretending as if we do not know that some section of in this country, some people in this country enjoy some, on the, we call it on the, in fact, the level of privileges that these people enjoy, right, is uncountable, is uncontrollable. They just have an open access to almost everything. I mean, look at the attack that happened in Plateau. Now we can see that the police have swung into action. Immediately the attack of Plateau happened. And by the way, I am not in any way supporting that killings. But my cry here, as a Nigerian who wants Nigeria to prosper by we realizing that we have our tribal sentiments, and I want that tribal sentiment to be recognized. As that kind of a person, I am bothered that if in Benue, over 200 persons will be killed, until this very moment, the Nigerian armed forces have not been apprehend one single soul. However, in Plateau, in Mangu local government, to be specific, right, immediately the attack happened, nothing less than 5 persons who actually perpetrated that level of evil have been arrested. These people who perpetrated this evil they were found out that they were Christians, right? Now, but the attack that happened in Benue, a Christian community was attacked. People were killed, over 200. Homes were burned. And it is reported that those that went to carry out that attack are Fulani Islamic extremist terrorists. And as we speak, the Nigerian army have not been catch anybody. So is it a situation whereby when Christians try to, return the attack, a reprisal attack against the excesses of these Islamic jihadists, the Nigerian army somehow, some way know how to do their job? Look at the issue of Sunday Jackson, of course, in the same Plateau state. The young farmer was in his farm when that Fulani header came on board with his cows, invaded his farmland, hurt his farm crops, and he was about to be attacked. Sunday Jackson, in a form of self-defense, overpowered the guy and unalived the Fulani header. And as we speak today, the Nigerian judicial system has said that guy should be hanged. But those that have been killing people in Nigeria, the Fulani bandits and others that have been killing people in Nigeria, most times will get what we call rehabilitation treatments from the same Nigerian government. They have been pardoned. They have been, after a period of 1 year, they say that they have been demilitarized. They have been allowed to get back into the society. These are people who have killed uncountable numbers of human beings. So you see why I said that Iran has indicted in northern Nigeria. And the next phase that the United States of America must do as a matter of urgency is they need to start extending that, or they should start cutting those tentacles, because they must understand that this is just the beginning of the war. Every country, unless it is on consensus, must not be forced to go into a religion. Iran was actually overthrown by this Islamic, they call them Islamic revolutionary something, right? There are so many countries like that. So many countries that used to be secular, they got overthrown by this Islamic jihads. It's a global phenomenon. And within a period of time, they become fully Islamized. And this is why so many people in the past have come out to tell us, listen, Nigeria cannot be Islamized. And we as Christians who still have a voice must bring that to the fore, that we should not keep quiet. The Christian leaders must not keep quiet. The Saudans, we want to live in harmony. We do not care whether you are a Muslim or a Christian. We don't want to make Sharia to be our constitutional, our constitution. We want to have a country that we have laws that are called common laws. We don't want a law that is based on theocracy. We don't want to have a theocratic system. The Northern Nigeria want to have that. And this is why they keep getting indicted. But somehow, Lord Luther, that was why I prayed for him earlier. I said, him no go die well. Whatever in day, it might not go no peace. Because whenever those guys commit one level of atrocity that attracts international attention, we of the South, there's no way we can wash ourselves clean. I cannot, listen, Nigeria is being placed on the map as having one of the fourth deadliest terrorist group in the world. These terrorist groups, they receive intelligence from the axis of Middle East, Iran to be specific. Can I say that I am not a Nigerian? Which passport am I carrying? That is the issue. Which passport am I holding? The same guy who is perpetrating the evil, who is from the corner, will get to the embassy, present that passport, the very green passport. I will also get there, I will present the green passport. So I am expected to receive the same treatment just as that guy who is committing atrocities, all because he believes that if he dies, he's going to heaven for 72 virgins. However, I do not believe in that. I want to be able to study. I want to be able to create things with my senses. I want to be able to go into all manner of engineering adventures. However, this guy just wants to kill for his own faith. He doesn't care anybody whose hoax is God. He doesn't care if anybody dies. All he cares about is everybody should practice that religion by force. And they are having so many backings, so many international support. And this is why I said that you listening to me today, in the next few months, you will begin to realize, because this thing will begin to play out in Nigeria. You, as you can see over there, so many Northerners want Iran to have nuclear weapon. Hey, these people that will tell us that we cannot have our own country. These Northern Nigerians that will tell us that we cannot have tax reforms. These Northern Nigerians that will say that, you know what, let us have a level playing field in the educational system. Let us remove what we call quota system. Why should the North be asked to score 100? Why I in the South will score 250? That is partiality. Now imagine such a people using their religious affiliations with Iran. When Iran now finally builds the missile, the nuclear weapons, what do you think will happen to us in the South? If you do, boom, you are wiped out. It's as simple as that. Because Nigeria is seen as an Islamic state by the Iran people. The Iran do not want the Christians, just as in their country, in Iran as it stands, Christians do not have a say. You might be living, you might be existing, and that's just it. You cannot fight for political position. You cannot debate or question or call for political policies. Nothing. You are just there living like a log of wood. You cannot fight for basic rights. And so this is why we as a people must understand that the Islamization agenda is source in Iran. And this is why we must support Trump for what he did. Let us listen to what this former DSS chairman has to say about this Islamization agenda. Bye for now.
It's a spectrum, so you can't rule out something. But the center of gravity is what they should look at. And what is it? I'm saying it on this channel. It is the sponsor of Boko Haram and bandits.
And speaking about the sponsors, You know, when you say the DSS, and yeah, they could be listening to you, but so they profile, part of their responsibility is to profile all of these persons before they either vie for elections or before, excuse me, they are nominated for any of these positions. Doesn't that happen? Don't they get intel and say, look, this and this is what we found, and then we don't think that this should proceed further? Doesn't that happen?
It does. You know, when I worked with the DSS in 2007, because when Yar'Adua approved the operational order that we did, we now have to work together as a team. He actually forced all of us to sit down together and work together. I was surprised at the tremendous amount of information had by DSS. I was shocked. We in DI, I was in Defense Intelligence Agency, and when they were forced to bring out the files, I was shocked. They have so much information at DSS presently, as I'm talking about what I'm talking about. They have. But you see, if a fish is going to get spoiled, it's going to start getting spoiled from the head. The DSS will not do anything except the Commander-in-Chief's body language shows that this is the direction I want to go. That is where the problem is. The DSS has tremendous information. By the time 2023 is here and somebody take over and wants to undo some of this evil that I've seen in this country, you'll be surprised names that the DSS will bring out. They have the information. There's nothing I'm going to say here that they don't have. The defense headquarters have the solution for the kinetic aspect. They do. I'm not going to come here to advise them. I work with them and they're still there. The Chief of Naval Staff was in the intelligence with me. We were together in Defense Intelligence Agency. That's Vice Admiral Gambo. I know these people are good. They know what to do. It's not that they have problems. It has to do with politics, the sponsors, people that feel that this country should be Islamized.
You know, assuming but not conceding that, that all of this is the case. So what is the end game? Because I imagine as a strategist, that's what you think about too. So these things are happening. What is the end game? So why will this be allowed to fester? For what purpose?
The end game for them, because we did, normally when you want to look at this type of challenges, what you do is that you go through what we call the intelligence circle. Okay? When you do the processing and you do the analysis before dissemination point, you discover that the end game for them is to just turn this country into like a Taliban type of country. And it's a mindset. And anything goes. In other words, 10% casualties, 20% casualties is allowed in trying to achieve the end game of Islamizing this country.
That's for the terrorists, the bandits.
It's not for the terrorists and the bandits, for the sponsors. Because I told you, and I will repeat on this channel, the sponsors of Boko Haram and the bandits are the problems. And defense headquarters, the army headquarters, the naval headquarters, the air force cannot do anything about that. Buhari has to do something about that. The Interpol has the list of those people that are sponsoring Boko Haram. I work with Interpol. They should ask, if they don't know, they should ask. The government of Dubai, they have the list of those people. During the trial of those people that were caught, names were mentioned. They have the list. The government also told us that they've arrested 400 sponsors of Boko Haram. Why should the government not try those people and bring peace and harmony and safety to this nation? Why won't a government do that?